Welcome back, my name is Sam, and in today's video we are going to talk about the most chaotic race of the 2026 Formula 1 season so far. 7 cars did not make it to the finish line at the Barcelona Catalunya Grand Prix. 7 out of 22 starters. We saw gearboxes fail, batteries overheat, hydraulic systems give up, and an electrical shutdown that cost the championship leader 18 points with 4 laps to go. But none of those retirements were as bizarre as what happened to Nico Hulkenberg on lap 29. Hulkenberg's Audi was completely shut down by a single stone kicked up by Liam Lawson. No contact, no crash, just one piece of gravel that hit the right spot and killed the entire car. Today, we're going to break down exactly how that happened, walk through every retirement from the race, and explain why all of this is a direct consequence of the new 2026 regulations. Let's get into it. To understand why so many cars failed in Barcelona, you first need to understand what has changed under the hood this season. The 2026 regulations are the biggest overhaul in Formula 1 history. The FIA wanted to make the sport more sustainable and more relevant to the road car industry. So they completely redesigned the power unit. Under the old regulations, roughly 80% of the power came from the internal combustion engine, and about 20% came from the electrical system. In 2026, that split is 50-50. The new electric motor, known as the MG-UK, now delivers 350 kilowatts of power. That is nearly 3 times more than the previous generation. At the same time, the FIA demanded the cars get lighter, dropping the minimum weight from 800 kilograms down to 768. Think about what that combination actually means. You are putting 3 times the electrical power into a car that is smaller, lighter, and has less space for cooling and protection. These cars are essentially high-voltage power stations on wheels. And when you push electrical systems to those kinds of extremes in an environment as brutal as a Formula 1 race, things break. The cars are extraordinary pieces of engineering, but they are also incredibly fragile. And that is exactly what we saw in Barcelona. The first retirement of the day was Lance Stroll. He made it just a handful of laps before a gearbox failure ended his race. Stroll had started from 21st on the grid after Aston Martin opted for a different strategy, and the gearbox simply did not survive the opening phase of the race. His teammate Fernando Alonso lasted longer, but his day ended on lap 37 with a battery issue. Alonso had started from the pit lane after a power unit change, and the battery failed before he could work his way through the field. It was a particularly painful retirement given that Alonso himself had said before the weekend that this was probably his last ever Barcelona race in Formula 1. He deserved better than that. Valtteri Bottas was pulled in by Cadillac as a precautionary retirement. The team decided not to risk the power unit any further, which tells you everything you need to know about the reliability concerns running through the paddock right now. Ollie Behrman retired with a reliability issue for the 2nd consecutive race, which is a real problem for Haas as they try to score points in the midfield battle. Charles Leclerc, who had been fighting back through the field after a difficult qualifying, lost his hydraulic power, steering in the closing stages and crossed the line in 15th place, scoring 0 points. And then there was Kimi Antonelli. Antonelli had been one of the stars of the race. He had overtaken his own teammate George Russell for 2nd place and was on course for 18 points. He was 4 laps from the finish, and then his Mercedes suffered a complete electrical shutdown. The car just stopped. His first DNF of the season, at the worst possible moment. Before Barcelona, Antonelli led the championship by 59 points over Lewis Hamilton. After Barcelona, that gap is down to 41. One electrical fault, and the entire complexion of the title fight changed, but the retirement that nobody could quite believe was Nico Hulkenberg. Lap 29, Hulkenberg is running in his Audi, right behind Liam Lawson's Racing Bulls. They are fighting over 9th place. Lawson makes a small mistake at the exit of turn 12, puts a wheel in the gravel trap and kicks up a cloud of stones onto the track. Hulkenberg drives straight through it, and then nothing. The car is completely dead. No power, no dashboard, nothing at all. Hulkenberg coasts into the pit lane. His mechanics assume he is coming in for a tyre change and actually swap his tyres, but the car does not move. It is completely lifeless. The mechanics stand around it, confused, waiting for something to happen. Nothing does. Audi investigated the car and came back with an explanation that you genuinely could not make up. One of those stones that Lawson kicked up hit the left side of the car, right near the roll hoop. That is where the fire extinguisher and the ERS kill switch are located. Because the 2026 cars run such extreme electrical voltages, the FIA requires that emergency shutdown switches are accessible from the outside of the car. If a car crashes and the driver is unconscious, marshals need to be able to cut the electrical system immediately to prevent electrocution. That stone from Lawson hit exactly that switch. The system registered it as an emergency trigger and, as a safety measure, shut the entire car down instantly. Hulkenberg said after the race, "It was a very sudden death. Liam, just in front of me, put a wheel into the gravel at the exit of turn 12, which kicked up a lot of gravel. It hit our car so bad it hit some electric boxes and actually pulled the safety trigger on the side of the car, which completely kills the entire car. A complete switch off and game over. I've never seen or heard about this in my career." When journalists found Lawson and told him what had happened, he was completely stunned. He said, "Obviously, I had no idea. If I could perfectly aim for something like that, it would be quite impressive, but I had no idea. I just knew that he dropped out." Now, you might be asking why the kill switch is in a position where a flying stone can reach it. And that is exactly the right question to ask, because the answer tells you everything about the challenge teams are facing with these new cars. The FIA mandates that the ERS kill switch must be accessible from the outside of the car so that marshals and emergency services can cut the power quickly in an accident. It is a safety requirement that exists because these cars carry such extreme electrical voltages. If a driver is unconscious after a crash, someone needs to be able to kill the power from outside without climbing into the car. That is a completely reasonable safety rule. But it creates a vulnerability that nobody had thought through. The switch has to be reachable from the outside, which means it is also reachable by debris, gravel, and anything else flying around at racing speeds. That is the fundamental tension at the heart of the 2026 regulations. You build a car that is half powered by electricity, and then you have to build all the safety infrastructure that comes with it. And that safety infrastructure, as Hulkenberg found out, has weaknesses that nobody anticipated. We have seen this pattern before. When Formula One introduced the first generation of hybrid power units in 2014, the opening races were a reliability disaster. Teams had never run these systems under race conditions before. The complexity was enormous, the failure modes were unknown, and cars were retiring left and right. In Australia 2014, 5 cars failed with technical issues. Teams simply did not understand their new power units well enough yet. It took the whole field, most of that first season, to get on top of the reliability problems. In 2026, the pattern is the same, but the technology is even more complex. The MGU-K is 3 times as powerful as it was in 2014. The electrical systems are more deeply integrated into every single part of the car, and teams have had a very limited number of testing kilometers to understand all of it. 7 retirements in Barcelona is not a coincidence. It is the sport working through the growing pains of the biggest regulation change it has ever seen. The teams that figure out reliability first will have a massive advantage. Look at Aston Martin. They have had a double retirement in Barcelona, and Honda, their power unit supplier, is clearly struggling with the new electrical demands. Look at Mercedes. They have arguably the fastest car on the grid, but Russell retired in Canada and Antonelli retired in Spain. Those are enormous points being thrown away at exactly the wrong time. And look at Audi, who lost what could have been their best result of the season because of a stone on a gravel trap. This championship is not going to be decided purely by who has the fastest car. It is going to be decided by who can keep their car running to the end. 1 stone in Barcelona cost Audi a points finish. 1 electrical fault cost Antonelli 18 points and nearly half his championship lead. The 2026 regulations have made Formula One more unpredictable than we have seen in years. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Should the FIA look at where the ERS kill switch is positioned after what happened to Hulkenberg? And do you think the reliability problems will get better as the season goes on, or are we going to keep seeing this level of carnage? I read as many comments as I can, so drop your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We cover all the biggest stories in Formula One every single week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.